All right. Let's have a talk about attribution, influencers and attribution. So I got sent over some videos from a live feed from a very popular influencer. And this is with reference to like multiple influencers that are out there that are wanting to do functional patterns these days. They're reading the vibes of the industry and they're starting to shift. And they're like, there was an old guard that kind of like ruled the industry with their old narratives that are still completely outdated. And then there's a new wave that's starting to take over. And that's functional patterns. Like the functionality crew is taking over, and obviously functional patterns is the one leading that charge with the results that it's gotten. And so what you're finding is people jumping, they're switching sides, because not only do they see a vibe shift not on social media, but they see it in their personal life. They're seeing the people around them do, they'll see them do the yoga, they'll see them doing the ice baths, they'll see them taking the peptides, the stem cells. You'll find these influencers hang out with all the people that are doing the most cutting edge stuff, and it's starting to fail. It's no longer working. And then you'll get some of these influencers that say, you know, I've been adopting functional patterns, and the results that I'm getting with it are actually sticking. They're actually feeling better. And then when these influencers come back on social media, they'll see people actually talking about this in the public. They'll be talking about it like publicly and saying, yeah, functional patterns is the only thing that actually worked for me. And so now they feel compelled to have to try what functional patterns offers. And so this is the thing, guys. This is part of my frustration in life. It's like people have oftentimes been willing to give functional patterns credit as a part of a greater system, or as a part of several methodologies that are out there. And I would be okay with that. Let me be very clear about this. Like when I've worked with clients and they've been in pain and there's nothing else that's actually fixing them. Like there's been few things that have aggravated me more than when I have a client that goes to a chiropractor pointlessly, and I know that it's doing nothing for them. Like let's say I have a client, they'll work with a physical therapist at the same time that they're working with me. And every time they come back from that physical therapist, they'll be like, yeah, you know, like my knee is fucked up again, or my hip is fucked up again. And I just don't know what it is. And I'm like, I know what your physical therapist is doing. And he's just congesting your hip, and he's congesting your knee even more, because he's just exacerbating your spiral asymmetry and trying to build strength around your knee and your hip. I'm talking about like literal situations that have popped up in my career. And so the client will just keep them around just in case. They just keep them there in their back pocket. And there's always like reasons for why they keep these people around. And so let's say I'm doing other types of work with the client, and I'm like being hired for other types of jobs, and I fix the person's problems, right? Anything that I'm hired to fix, I fix. And I fix it expediently, very quickly. I get to the point and I solve the problem very fast. What agitates me is not necessarily just the fact that they're going to the physical therapist. That's a minor irritant. My irritant, the irritation that I feel from people in my field, is when they're doing functional patterns forcibly, especially with these influencers, because they're going to do the same thing as these clients that I don't train anymore, because I don't stick around with people like this for very long. But the irritant that I find, or the irritation I find with these influencers that are going to take on the same mindset, is not necessarily that they're trying many different things, but that they're going to assign that the results that they get came just as much from the other systems as what they're getting from functional patterns. They try and like equalize it, right? And in life, guys, the concept of equality is bullshit. No two cars, like you could be on a manufacturing line, right? I could take my car and make a duplicate car, right, in the same manufacturing line, but if you measure it down to the nanogram, they're not going to weigh the same, and the dimensions are not going to be exactly the same. No two things are perfectly alike. Equality is bullshit. So either one is going to be heavier, one of them is going to be lighter, one of them is going to be shaped in one direction more than the other. It might have more shearing force on one side than the other. There's always going to be how would I put it? There's always going to be difference, right? And one car is going to be better than the other. One car is going to be slightly more functional than the other. Not all cars are equally reliable, even if it's the same car. Okay? Now, when it comes to training, when it comes to trainers, when it comes to influencers, not all influencers are on an even keel. And since I'm the guy that's up here, right, that's looking down on everybody else, just saying, hey, look, like you guys aren't catching up, I'm going to be very, very real about who the best in the field is. Nobody in this industry ever clamors that they're the best. Nobody would ever say anything like that. You want to know why? It's because they know that they're not the best. Most people in this industry understand that they're not excellent at anything. They might be the best at like delivering a message. You have some influencers that are fantastic at delivering a message, but you will rarely ever find any influencer that says my methodology is the best in the same way that I say that my methodology is the best, because it is the best. So no two coaches are equal. Okay? Just like no two fighters are equal. No two sprinters are equal. Equality is bullshit. But in this industry, we try and treat every influencer, every health practitioner, every trainer, every physical therapist. We're all supposed to operate on this egalitarian notion, which is bullshit. I don't buy into that. I buy into this notion that, you know, like that we live in a meritocracy. That if somebody is really good at what they do, that they should be rewarded in relation to their goodness, not in relation to their fucking niceness or how they deliver a message. You should be paid and you should be rewarded based upon what you actually contribute to the civilization. That's the way that I orient. And so I'll just put it very simply for the influencers that watch me right now. There's nothing that I take on as more disrespectful when you put this method over here that's trying to do the same things that I am, and you publicly make it out to be like they're on an even keel with me, when you and I both know that they're like way down here and functional patterns is like above this roof line by like fucking 100 feet. I don't take that well. I'm never going to take that well. And if you try treating functional patterns the same as the other shit that's out there that I know is causing more problems, then we're going to have problems. It's very simple. We can never do this, right? If you're saying that FP is the same as this guy over here who cuts corners, who's full of shit, who's always trying to find a way to rise to prominence by just talking more or shifting the pitch rather than getting results and fixing more people. If you try treating us as equal, this isn't going to work. We aren't cool. That's just how it is. That's life. And so I like if I'm getting the majority of the results for somebody, if I'm the one that's fixing their shit, I want proper citation. I want proper credit. I want functional patterns to be given that proper citation. I want people to acknowledge, hey, this is what I did, and this was the actual thing that fixed me. Yeah, I do all this other stuff, but it kind of just comes along for the ride because I'm just like want to just mix stuff in because I'm bored. Like, if that's the thing, then say it. But like, there's no other method that gets results like functional patterns without using functional patterns. What I've always found is that, yes, there are other methods that will get results with functional patterns if they take concepts from functional patterns and they employ them into their own. Guys, the idea of somebody like standing neutral, that was completely foreign to this industry. I know to many of you it might be like a really hard thing to believe, but you'll see like those anatomical diagrams where you'll see a spine straightening and then it being curved and straightening. They got that from me, bro. They got that from me. Full on. These anatomists, they got that from me. Whether you want to believe it or not, go to The Power of Posture. Read The Power of Posture and look at the standing neutral position. I guarantee you will not find a single text that showcases that position anywhere. You won't find it fucking anywhere. They got that from me. And so I don't get credit for it. I don't get citation from it. I don't have scientific journals or anybody talk about me or mention my fucking name when they say it. So I have a problem with that. Because if you don't give me credit for it, then I don't get paid. I don't get rewarded for what I do. Like, biology gravitates towards rewards. Like, think about it. Would you ever expect a dog to listen to you if you didn't give it treats? If you didn't reward it with play and you didn't pet it and like nurture it? Would you ever expect it to want to do work? Or would you ever expect it to want to be friendly with you? Of course not. That would be absolute insanity if you thought that way. And the same thing goes with people. If people do exceptional work, then there should be exceptional rewards. And I have not really gotten too many exceptional rewards. And it's been very frustrating. And so if you're going to build on that frustration, if you're going to behave in a particular way that leads to me being frustrated because I'm not being given the proper attribution at the level that I operate at the level that functional patterns operates at, this isn't going to work. It's not going to work. It just won't. I know the level that I operate at. I know the level that my practitioners operate at. I know what we're doing. And you do too, Mr. Influencer. This is a dilemma, though, to everybody else. That's kind of like me speaking to the influencer directly to everybody else. The influencer's caught in a hard spot because influencers make their living by writing on vibes. And until the vibe shift becomes that everybody's doing functional patterns, they're not going to try and do the right things. That's just how it is. And so for them to jump like over to our side right now, I think it's probably not going to happen. So I think that pretty much covers it. I think I got my point across. It's not about citing functional patterns, right? I'm saying, let's cite functional patterns. It's a great system. It's like relativity matters, right? Matters. Like, how good is functional patterns relative to everybody else? It's not just that functional patterns is great. Because then you can also say, well, physical therapy is great too. Oh, yoga is great too. It's like, no, physical therapy prompts hyperflexibility in the body. And with that hyperflexibility, you get hypoflexibility in other areas of the body because the body's always counterbalancing looseness with tightness and tightness with looseness. That's just how it is. Okay. You could say that yoga is fantastic for the body, right? Like you can say that, but yoga, again, it's dealing with the same issues as physical therapy. You could say that Olympic lifting is great for the body, but there's no real objective way of showing that, especially in terms of longitudinal studies. You don't tend to find that with Olympic lifting or powerlifting, right? If you're going to say that you're mixing functional patterns, right, or you're saying functional patterns is really good, try assigning, at least from an intuitive standpoint, objective parameters. Try creating a point of separation. I just tell you point blank. Like if people aren't willing to do that and regularly do that, then they can't get close to me, man. It's as simple as that. They're not going to get close to me. And you're not going to get my approval either because you're not being real. And future trends. You guys saw that video of Mike Israetel, that response video that we got. Over 400,000 views. Almost 10,000 likes. You know that never happened before? You know, just 10 years ago, I was that lone weirdo, and guys like Mike Israetel were talking shit about me 10 years ago publicly, and people loved him for it. They adored him for it. And in just 10 short years, it's completely turning around. Over 400,000 views, almost 10,000 likes. That eclipses the responses that they used to give to me. There's a vibe shift. There's a vibe shift happening right now. The vibes are shifting. The game has changed. I'll take lots of credit for that. I'll take fucking loads of credit for that. So, we don't know what's going to come of the industry. We don't know. We're not sure. Who knows? Maybe this is just a fad. I don't think it is. I think people are corroding to a certain degree where they're not afforded the opportunity to make foolish mistakes with their bodies. And I think that they, at some point, have to say, you know what? We can only degenerate so much until we've completely fucked ourselves. We can only drink so much caffeine, rely on, and I'll say this again, we can only rely on things like stem cells so long until our body can't produce until our body can't produce its own stem cells because we've relied on it too much exogenously. Yeah, Rodney writes, Rodney Osura writes, yeah, if an influencer is saying FP is great and they say traditional lifting is great too, it's a backhanded compliment. Absolutely. I'm 41. I feel fucking good. I could get after it, but I'm not. I'm over here and I'm not going to tell you guys what I'm doing. I'm going to keep that a secret. But I'm doing some cool shit right now. And I feel fucking great. I don't have to take anything. No peptides, no steroids, no fucking TRT. And I don't even have to think about a TRT. Fucking waking up in the morning every day these days with massive fucking boners. Fucking stiff. Just like, holy shit. Routinely. And I'm not even getting that much sleep. I could still be getting more sleep, and I'm working on getting more sleep. I'm learning to wake up a little bit later and whatnot. Learning to take more naps. I take at least fucking 3 naps throughout the week, which, like, for me is fucking unheard of. But I'm even starting to squeeze some naps into my fucking days. I'm crushing it. I'm absolutely fucking murdering it. So yeah, I'll just say, if traditional training leads you to functional patterns, it's because the traditional training failed you. Functional patterns doesn't lead people to traditional training once they've done it after a given period of time. People stick to it for over a decade, most of the time. If they've been around and they've actually like really sampled it and they're like, this makes sense, usually they don't go back to doing the old bullshit. And if they try doing anything that's not functional patterns, they try doing something that that kind of like is trying to simulate what functional patterns is. I think your methodology is I think your methodology is being stolen, or I don't know. There's like 2 guys who sell. Bro, there are hundreds of people trying to do it, thousands of people. Now we have close to 150 patents. So you're gonna have a difficult time trying to get past those fucking things. Never mind all the manufacturing and product development and all the engineering and everything that you have to get. Like, I'm not just a trainer, guys. I'm a CEO, legit. I'm a CEO and I'm an actual innovator. Like, CEOs are not the ones looking at blueprints trying to figure shit out. I am. I have to look at blueprints, and I have to guide people to build things the way that I need them to be built so they can help you move better. There's levels to this shit, is what I'm saying, okay? So, when there's people in this field that understand the levels, but they want to go like, oh, yoga is great, so is traditional lifting, so is physical therapy, so is all this, and functional patterns is great too. Oh yeah, look, it can all vibe. It's like, no. That's not what FP is about. It's about who's best. That's the question. Bro, how do I lose weight? Please help. Step on the scale. First, okay, if you want to, like, you know what? I'll get into this. And then I'm going to close this out because I got some picanha waiting for me. The way you lose body fat is very simple. First, you have to acknowledge that life is difficult. That's the first thing that you have to do. You have to assume that life is about discomfort and always staying uncomfortable. That's the first thing that you have to, like, assert upon your life. Like, if you think life is supposed to be easy, then the probability is you're going to eat like a pig and live like a slob. If you think life is supposed to be hard and that there's supposed to be inherent struggle associated to it, then you're going to do things to prepare yourself to deal with a difficult life. So that's where it starts. Assume that life is going to be difficult. Assume that it's going to be a challenge. And that you need to develop some level of resilience, mental fortitude to deal with a difficult life. That's the first thing. After you understand that, what you need to do is just step on a scale and you need to say, okay, this is all you need to do. You need to be thinking about cutting about 1/4 pound of weight per day. Okay? You jump on a scale, and every single time you eat anything, you jump on a scale. You go on and you're like, okay, how much do I weigh? Like, I weigh whatever, 190 pounds. Let's say you weigh 190 pounds. You'd be like, well, in a week, I'd like to weigh 189 pounds or maybe 189.4 pounds in a week. That's how much I want to weigh. Well, what you do every single time that you eat a meal is you slowly chip away at it. You chip away at it and you say, okay, how do I get myself down from 190 pounds to 188.8 pounds? And you you just repeat that cycle until you get to your goal weight. And you say, okay, how much am I eating? The more that you manage that, the more that you step on the scale and you just see how much the food that you're consuming, how much the water you drink ups your weight, that's gonna be like the biggest factor in you actually dropping body fat. You have to impulsively step on the scale a good, whatever, like 10 times a day. Somebody put intermittent fasting has worked for me. Lost about 20 pounds in about 6 months. Very doable. Yeah, but bro, what I'm talking about actually works. What I'm saying will work a lot better. Just jump on the scale. Quantify things. If you can make your results become objective, right? If you can like be objective about how you get results, that's going to make the biggest impact in you figuring your shit out. Step on the scale. Don't engage in all this extreme shit. Be like, oh man, I need to do fucking intermittent fasting, eat 1 hour a day. You're going to yo-yo and you'll fall off after about a year. So accept that life is hard, step on the scale, and on a regular basis be like, okay, what's my goal weight? And then look at what you eat impacting how much you weigh. Like it's as simple as that. It's really not that complicated. And then I would also advise, cut out the grains, eliminate grains because it's kind of just empty shit that you're putting into your body. Cut the grains out, cut the polyunsaturated fats out, or not cut the seed oils out of your diet. And then at that point, I'd say like cut, maybe if you're consuming too many carbohydrates, eat less of them. If you're consuming too much protein, obviously consume a little bit more carbs. It's hard. You have to determine. You have to be intuitive about that. I would just say up more protein, right? Consume a bit more protein and then figure out your fats. But it's not that complicated. Avoid grains. I would say prioritize fish. I would say prioritize seafood as your main source of diet, as your main source of fuel. And if you follow that blueprint, you're going to be fine. You don't even have to do anything else. I would suggest do that while you're doing myofascial release and while you're doing functional patterns protocols. If you want this to stick and you want to feel better while you're dropping all this body fat, you can't replace a biochemical crisis, which is what you're going through if you're overweight, and not replace it with better mechanotransduction. Your body has to be able to how do I put it? You have biochemical signaling, but then you have mechanotransductive signaling, which is like mechanical signaling. If your mechanical signaling is faulty, your biochemistry gets thrown off. And in fact, your mechanotransductive signaling is likely what's driving your biochemistry to be off. Most of this is biomechanical. Most of it's a biomechanical issue. So if you fix your biomechanics in tandem with understanding that life is going to be difficult and you begin to just eat less, not only will you drop body fat, but you'll be able to keep it off a lot easier. Somebody put, I believe FP is the martial arts of fitness. I'd say the mixed martial arts of fitness. Can you start handing out white to black belts at training? For example, HBS when you get your blue belt? No, no. Like just because you show up to HBS doesn't mean you get a blue belt. I thought about doing that, then it ends up offending people. No, it's just not going to work that way. I'll say this to close this off because I got to go eat some picanha. If you're an influencer and you're doing functional patterns, like if you don't want to be real, if you want to behave in this egalitarian bullshit and you're going to say, oh, look, this is great over here. Look, I did this guy's mobility stuff and it's great. And then I did this other thing over here that's great. And by the way, I feel like shit after a few months after doing it, and it forced me to do functional patterns, but I'm still going to call this great. If you're going to continuously call this stuff great and you're going to put functional pattern on that same level, we can't be cool, man. We can't be cool because you're not being real. You're not being honest. You got to say, all right, the best methodology is this methodology. This kind of stuff is all an accessory, right? The back squats, the deadlift, that's all an accessory. But the shit that really actually ends up getting the results and that really fixes the problems is functional patterns. If you try conflating things and trying to say, oh, functional patterns, it works great and it gets great results, especially when I mix it with this other method, you might as well just tell me to fuck off because that's what you're doing. And I'm going to tell you to fuck off. That's bullshit. If another method that's not functional patterns can't get results independent of utilizing my shit, then that system fucking sucks. Circumnavigate mine, right? Like, I didn't have to use Paul Chek's system to figure my shit out, because I didn't. I didn't have to use Tom Meyer's systems to figure my shit out. I didn't. I didn't have to use anybody's shit. I just made it bespoke. It was all my own shit. Okay? So, and I'm even to this day, I'm not asking anybody for any help either. Functional pattern stands on its own. That's it. So please do not try comparing FP with like a system that's down here that can't get its own results on its own, right? Please, like, for fuck's sake, just don't do that. If you're somebody who's like mixing FP with other methodologies or other systems or other forms of training, and you're going to say that it was the mixture of functional patterns and this other system that got the result, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. We know what wound up getting the results. Let's be real. We need to be honest. Attribution matters. If I have a lucky, like if I have a, look, this is my lucky garage remote, right? And anytime that I have my lucky garage remote with me and I do chamber sequences, you know, my posture just seems to get better. But whenever I don't have this lucky garage remote, my posture doesn't get better when I do functional patterns and I do these chamber sequences. Isn't that a coincidence? Right? Isn't that just like, oh, like it just like, it's gotta be, there's gotta be something to that, right? So I'm gonna just carry my lucky garage remote anywhere that I go, just so I can keep getting these gains with functional patterns, because functional patterns, the system itself, is just not good enough by itself. You need to have a garage remote. So buy my lucky garage remote at garage remote training with plus functional patterns at www.com functional patterns. Boom. That's how these motherfuckers work. That's how these guys work. It's like, oh, like, here's this supplement that I take and I mix it with functional patterns. And when I mix this supplement with functional patterns, by the way, I'm not bagging on supplements. There's some supplements that I'll take, but here's, if I take functional patterns with this, then I get the results. But if I take this away, now I can't get results with functional patterns. You're going to see more shit like this as we move forward. Hubris Man writes, let me know what that remote URL is. Again, it's garage remote functional patterns mix.com. Garage remote functional patterns mix.com is where you get this garage remote. And if you mix this with the chamber sequences, guys, you found the solution. So buy my lucky garage remote functional patterns mix. Buy my garage remote at garage remote functional patterns mix.com. That's where you buy it. Yes, and the discount code is garage remote functional patterns mix for 15% off on the functional patterns garage remote that helps you get results. That's how these motherfuckers think. So I don't give a shit. Like, there's a vibe shift happening, guys. And at the end of the day, I'm like, functional patterns is trending into the future, and I'm not gonna like sit here and be like, oh yeah, let me just fucking totally play into this bullshit. Brent McMillan just wrote that he bought 3 of them, bro. You know what's up, Brent. See, Brent knows what's up. Has anybody else bought my lucky garage remote functional patterns mix.com at functional patterns garage remote? Thank you. See, garage remote functional patterns mix.com. And then for the, Hubris Man writes, garage remote mix functional patterns. Thank you, bro. Thank you. That's a code for 15% off on this lucky garage remote. Rowie Corin writes, I will wait on my favorite influencers to review it first. Yeah, you can, bro. Watch. I'll tell you point blank, because this is actually something that they could easily monetize. I guarantee you. I would not be surprised if we saw somebody going like, hey, look, here's my lucky fucking key fob, right? Here's my lucky key that I use to get gains when I mix it with functional patterns. You could do it with anything, guys. Be like, hey, look, here's my crack rock. I smoke crack and I do functional patterns, and I get phenomenal results with smoking crack and doing functional patterns. I want a discount code for the site, bro. It's Garage Remote Functional Patterns Mix. That's what you have to write for the code. How can I become an affiliate, bro? It's like you can't just get into this club of just selling garage remotes like this. This is a specific kind of garage remote, right? This one's manufactured in... Oh. Hold on. Let me see. Oh, shit. Maybe I shouldn't show that. Actually, I don't think it's gonna matter. I think it's irrelevant. It's assembled in Mexico. It's assembled in Mexico. It's probably made in China though. So that's the Garage Remote Functional Patterns Mix.com, and yeah, that's it. Elaine Schrader writes, it's almost like when they mix track training with back squats and say the back squats made them faster. Yeah, Elaine, and what's interesting about it is there's no data to actually back any of that up. Like literally none. 0%. It's like almost like they make things up and then they say it's true. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, hey, look, let me just say something and then just see if I can get people to just assume that it's true. Let's see if I can make them believe that it's true. Anyway, guys, that's it. Have a good one.